All right, a very fantastic evening to you, wherever you're viewing actually Sunrise TV from. I would like to say thank you so much for always being hooked to Sunrise TV. This is the Sports Desk right here on Sunrise TV. This show is proudly sponsored by Sabrima Global Actual Ventures Limited. And they are the sole sponsors of this particular show here, whereby they do give us money to see that all the sporting activities that do actually run here at Sunrise TV is kind of catered in for in terms of providing internet, in terms of providing what that's what actually Sabrima Global Ventures does here perfectly, and see that all these machines here we're using on Sunrise TV are kind of maintained in here. So they deal in various actual activities. They deal in what we call procurement and logistics actual activities. They deal in bids. They deal in supply of goods and other materials. So what you just have to do is just have to go into the offices of Global, actually Sabrima Global Ventures Limited. There you will be sorted with everything. My name is Gerald, the host of the show. Today I'm alone in the show as my guests are taken off actually today. So today I will be driving you through in the world of sports. So many talking points in the world of sports. I will be taking you through with some of actually the key actually sporting stories developing, particularly in the evening currently here. A lot of stories we start beginning right from here, as usual from Western, and then we start proceeding to national actually scene there before we go international. Remember, local here, three players from two from Ontopraka Football Club and one from the Black Angels, like you said yesterday. Actually crossing over to South Sudan in a team called Qatar FC. Those players include Andama Junior of Montepaka Football Club. Remember, he has played for a couple of other teams in Western, including Medical Calvary, including Arua Hill, including a club in the name of Montepaka Football Club. Remember, Montepaka Football Club last season he scored around 9 goals. That's Andama Junior for you, and he is one of the most disciplined players actually in Western football. I think he loves actually every coach that has worked with. And Junior has kind of experienced that, and his kind of calmness actually into the piece speaks very much about his attributes for Team Western Province. And no doubt about he actually services crossing over to a team in the names of Qatar FC. It seems to be one of the biggest actual steps that to me Andama Junior has taken over. Remember, at the Football Club, things were not actually moving smoothly in there. He's not the only player who has crossed over to Qatar FC. He crossed over together with Amir. Amir has been so influential in that actual backline of the team on the Football Club. You remember, on the Football Club considered a lot of goals last season actually in the big league. So we are yet to see how these players will be actually making amends. That side of South Sudan. Remember, it's the Independence Day of South Sudan today. Probably some of these players already there are actually signing their contracts. Remember, these players have signed a 1-year contract already with their team Qatar Football Club. This Qatar team will be playing in what we call the Cup Confederation Cup. Remember, this is the Europa League of African football. So these players will be playing continental trophies. Remember, with the Football Club, this kind of actual initiative was not going to be there for them. Probably them proceeding to Qatar FC seems to be one of the biggest things. I think the players acted actually maturely very well, knowing very well that conduct actual situations are kind of very tricky when it comes to signing actually abroad. Remember, they only signed a 1-year contract each, and it comes with an obligation of a renewable offer. Probably when the 1-year contract is done, then they will be actually given the priority to see that their contract will be renewed. That is Andama Junior, Ibrahim in there, and then Amir is one of the players who have actually pen to paper on a 1-year contract, renewable contract in there with the team in the names of Qatar FC. The latest player is a player in the names of Opakov out of Bentham, aka Messi. This is a player who has a lot of actual potentials in him. Remember, by the Black Angels, he has been so influential, making amends with the team, contributing a number of goals, contributing a number of assists for the team of the Black Angels. Remember, this is a player who has been so actually encouraging actually on the pitch. Every fan of the Black Angels loves actually watching this guy. I was talking to one of the insiders that side of the Paida. He did tell me that this is a player the Black Angels will live to actually regret. Remember, he had been so influential. He actually tells players that we should go in for actual training. He comes on training actually on time. He's always the last player to leave the pitch. I think his kind of leadership was kind of very immense. I think his purpose was to see that the Blackens will make actually through to the Southern Ghana Premier League, but unfortunately this team didn't make it through. Remember, they finished fifth, sixth on the big league table. That clearly tells you that this is a team that had got ambition. So this guy, in the names of Opako Benjamin, was thought to be joining Bull FC, but apparently he has opted to join a team that will be playing continental football. Remember, Bull will not be playing continental football here in Uganda. It's only Vipers and Team Neck Football Club that will be playing continental football here in Uganda. So a player of his age, still very young, I think going over to South Sudan would add a lot of sense to his football. That's pretty much actually beautiful in there to see that the Western football is kind of making amends. Remember, these are not the only players from Western who are kind of cross borders. We did see a player in the names of Modesto Abiti crossing over to Katori FC, also from Ramataka Football Club. Remember, this is the regional league side that he has crossed over to Continental Showpiece. Very, very beautiful in there. That creates the Western football is kind of trying to grow up. And the Western FA needs to add a lot of spice actually into Western football. It's not high time that our games here in Western needs to be actually broadcast live on TVs. Remember, Satellite TV is here to broadcast some of these games live. Western TV is equal. The host TV is there. What actually we used to lack in Western is apparently now here. What next should we do is to see that most of these actual games need to be broadcast live here on the TV. The Western actually region needs to come with the common terms with some of these actual television companies to see that these games are broadcast live, and it will boost the market value of it, and the players will also get exposed, and some of the advertisers will definitely come in and sponsor some of these actual games here. You could be seeing Western FA making money when it comes to TV channels in there. So definitely advertisers will come in, and the Western FA will be reaping big from that business. So I think that will be one of the actual idea that I can put forth regarding this players' move. Remember, a couple of Western players have crossed over to South Sudan, including the likes of Jumani. He has crossed over. We have seen players like Okota crossing over, Gamma crossing over, and then Okota also as well crossing over. So we have to see other Western players who are within here. We have closely following that stories, and we shall let you know in case of any actual business that's actual transfers between the South Sudan clubs and the Ugandan clubs. So we have to see other players like Gabriel Matatas of this world, Yakini Rastis of this world. They're quiet actually on the market, but we shall try to find out our level bets that will give you all the information that you need. So these players have gone actually abroad in there. So it's our pride as Western, and these players will be representing Western in what we call provincial games in there. So much amazing to see these players move borders in there. Let's leave it that, and then we cross over to Ugandan football, and we talk about Vipers Football Club. Remember, Vipers will be making amends. That's one of the biggest clubs in Ugandan football by now, and this is a club that everyone thought that will be making Uganda very proud when it comes to continental soccer. Remember, it's only Vipers and KTC who have kind of gone through the preliminary stages, and where to see whether Vipers will be making amends this time around in the continental soccer. Remember, they were the champions of Ugandan football, actually winning it in a row. That tells you that the Vipers Football Club has got a very big actual plan. Their project seems to be working very well under Murindo. I think he's trying to do every investment to see that the football grows in Uganda. Remember, Vipers Football Club has got a number of youngsters in that team. The families of players who kind of got actually posed through Vipers, including the likes of Muhammad Saban, who he was actually under the rank of Vipers before he crossed over to Morocco in there. That clearly says that Morindo, the club president of Vipers Football Club, has got a big actual project in there. So speaking about their project, remember, they will be representing Uganda in what we call the CAF, actual Confederation Cup in there. So this team has kind of boosted, their squad a little bit. They have kind of acquired the services of a player in the names of Ayala, who plays. They have signed him on 2 years contract, and this is a player who has been playing down in Mozambique in a team called Associacia Black Bull FC. So this seems to be a very big one. You remember, this is a player who has got continental experience. You remember, he has actually played in Libya in a team called Muscat. So I think he'll be adding a lot of spice afro in that team of Vipers Football Club. Remember, Vipers Football Club are thought to be actually big dreamers or making through to the preliminaries here. So we have to see whether this player will be making amends for Vipers Football Club. And remember, this is a team that has got a number of quality players up front. You could talk about players like Eunice Sentamo, there at the helm of Vipers. I think when he comes into the team of Vipers, he'll be adding some spice in there. I was even suggesting that if Vipers could go for a player in the names of Jude Mugabe, who formerly played for them before, would be also another good one for them. Remember, Henry Parukadu is out of contract. Remember, he can still come in and add some spice in the team of Vipers. So I think playing continental football, you need experience into your team to balance everything up. So I think with all this kind of setup that the Vipers has got, so I think Vipers is good to go. Remember, Eunice Tentham is still into the mix. You have Gusto players like Gusto, they are still into the team. Then Kenneth Chimera. These are players that I think Vipers Football Club has got at their disposal. Remember, they are thought to be also big dreamers of a player in the names of Enoch Samagala from a team called NEC FC. Remember, NEC will be playing in the CAF Confederation Cup. This is the Europa League of African football. So I don't know whether NEC will be important to actually allow this player crossover to come and play in Uganda. That's a player in the names of NX Temagara. So we have to see whether Vipers will be allowing that. And they also thought to be in contact talks with their captain, that's Milton Carissa, so they want to renew his actual contract in there. Another player that Vipers is also thought to be renewing his contract is Patrick Mboa. So these are the players that the Vipers are looking close to see that they renew their contract and stay put with the team Vipers because see that they add value to the team of Vipers. Remember, staying put with your previous team and adding a little bit more of ingredients in the team will boost the team a little bit. And I think the project seems to be clicking very well for Vipers in there. I think adding those players into the system, they will definitely actually speak volume about Vipers. Remember, they have got the money, and the CAF say that they will be actually increasing the money that club that will be playing in the continental showpiece will be actually the money will be increasing. So we have to see whether Vipers will be making amends. So I remember they were the champions of Ugandan football. They have actually prize money is around 60 million Ugandan shillings. So we have to see whether that money, Morindoa, with the investments that he has got, or with the sponsor that he has got on board, will be adding some money on that, and then Vipers Football Club will be going for highly experienced players to see that the team of Vipers Football Club proceeds to the next round of the CAF actual Championship League. In there. Remember, they also thought to be looking for a foreign coach. So I don't know whether they don't trust actually the coaches that previously worked for them. He could talk about coaches like Tony Ayala. He has done tremendous well with team of Vipers Football Club. Remember, the dressing room factor at the Vipers Football Club has been the talking point, and I think he has done his part. And with his actual compared to it, I'm talking about Freddie Humbiza. I think these people have done tremendously very well for Team Vipers Football Club. I think going for a foreign coach can add some value into the team of Vipers, but I think they should give the priority to these coaches to see that they remain put up at the technical bench. Remember, these are the coaches who have kind of mastered the art very well in the team of Vipers in there. So I'll be very grateful to see that Molindo retains after these previous coaches to see that they remain put with the Vipers Football Club. And they also talked about them evaluating their previous coaches, previous foreign coaches. One of them is Roberto Oliveira. This is a coach who came in and won two trophies with the Vipers Football Club, and they also thought to be signing him back. So we are following this story to see that Vipers Football Club, maybe they will be important to sign them or not. One of them is Dusan Stevanovic. So these are the coaches that Vipers are closely monitoring actually their services in there. So we have to see whether Vipers will be making amends in Ugandan football. So let's leave that and talk about continental football. One of the biggest players in Uganda who was thought to be the talent of the current generation. I'm talking about Travers Muteba has kind of crossed over to Tunisian side in the names of Safshin. Remember, this is a young lad who had been playing for a team down in France, in a team called Gorodins. This is a player who went in there. He signed a 2 years contract, and in the first season he never actually impressed down in France. Remember, he only featured in 18 game appearances for team Gorodins in there. For this team, he never made actually a positive impact. The playmaker was none of his actual creativeness actually when he was still playing for AC Villa, but when he crossed over to Global Showpiece, things never actually materialized very well for him. Remember, this Gorodins team plays in the fourth tier of France football, so it's quite very absurd in there for a player in the names of Travers Muteba. So he's crossing over to go and play in a team called Safxin down in Tunisian league. So this is a team that has got a big potential, and this is a team once that they have played. In the continental showpiece. Remember, they have actually won this trophy for a couple of times in there. So we had to wait to see that Robert Muteba will be making amends and see that he becomes one of the young stars of Ghanaian football. To see that when you go for continental showpiece, you have to be social influential in there. I think it comes at the point when you're gonna be actually preparing for AFCON to come in there. So we have to see how a player in the names of Travers Muteba will be making amends for actually a team in the names of Safxin down in Tunisian league. You remember, he has played for a couple of teams. He has played here for Vipers Football Club. He has played for for AC Villa. He has played for Zamalek down in Egypt. So I think into that team of Safxin down in Tunisia, he may add some spice into that team in there. That's according to my own observation. Remember, playing continental football is quite different. I think he has kind of mastered the art in Africa very well. So I think playing in Africa will be the biggest pride for him. Remember, playing in France. Remember, it's not easy to play in a foreign land. So playing down in Africa, I think he needs to actually improve on his game, and his weakness that actually makes him not to be recognized by Gorodins down in France. So we have to see whether this player will be making amends. So let's leave it at that and talk about international sports. And we begin with the reports coming in from Old Trafford. It indicates that Manchester United pursued for Brian Mbeumo seems to be hitting actually a stumbling block, but they are very optimistic that the deal will be completed. According to the report that we are getting from the media houses down in England, it indicates that the United are very much hopeful that they will be striking this deal before the 26th of July, actually of this very month, to see that this guy comes through and plays actually in the preseason that will be taking place down in USA. Remember, Manchester United will be playing against Leeds United in their preseason games. They will as well played against West Ham United. They have got Bournemouth to play, and their last game in the preseason will be up against Everton, that they will be playing at MetLife Stadium down in America. So we have to see how this deal will be going. So according to sources from UK, it indicates that this player will be coming and he'll be making his debut in the game against West Ham United. That's according to the story. The story that we are getting from Europe. You remember, Mbeumo has been so influential for Team Brentford. I think he comes with a lot of versatility for Manchester United. If I told Manchester United signs him, remember this team of Brentford actually at first valued him at around £65 million. United actually submitted their first bid around £55 million. Brentford rejected this bid. United submitted their second bid around £62.5 million. Again, Brentford actually rejected this bid, and the latest we're getting is Brentford are demanding £65 million. So I think if Manchester United can go into the market and splash the money for this African young lad, it will be a very big one for Team Manchester United. Remember, this is still a very young player. He's very aggressive on the ball. He's very hardworking. He runs throughout the pitch. He's very dynamic enough with the formation. So I think he will be the perfect one for Ruben Amorim. Remember, at Brentford, he had been carrying that team so tremendously in there. So I think coming to that team of Manchester United, I think he will boost Manchester United as well team in terms of work rate, in terms of goal scoring. Remember, Manchester United, when it comes to goal scoring, they were very, very actually limited with the scoring chances in there. So I think with Matthias Cunha already into the books, I think this team will be good to go. I think it's not higher than the United hierarchy. Just need to go into the bank and break actually their genius and say this guy, he is a genius. He's actually Brian Permo, who has been so influential for Team Brentford, scoring around 20 plus goals for Brentford back to back for 2 seasons. So influential for Team Manchester United and Brentford in there. So we have to see whether this deal will be materializing. They are saying 26th of this very month is when this deal will be done. So we have to see whether that will come to pass. Remember, you can keep on sending your messages actually on our social media platforms, particularly on Facebook or on our email handle. I'll be actually responding to some of your messages that do come here on our social media handles. Remember, one of the latest stories developing is that Victor Gyökeres' bid has been rejected for Arsenal Football Club. What does it mean? And this guy said his tactics, actually his game best fits actually Ruben Amorim's tactics. What does this one mean? So the Arsenal board were in Portugal actually of the weekend, and in that deal, they thought that they are going to Portugal was going to see that they finalized this deal, and this has never actually picked up interest from the Sporting CP hierarchy, and this has gone quiet. And this clearly tells that Arsenal are still in a very big dilemma to see that this player crosses over in there, and this is a player who has been so influential for Team Sporting CP. He's now 27 years old. I think there are so many potentials in him. He had been in Premier League before he played for Coventry City, before crossing over to Team actually Sporting CP. At Sporting CP, he scored a couple of goals for them. Around 97 goals in 102 appearances. That's in 2 seasons. That's Victor Gyökeres for you. He has done his part for the team. I think he said Ruben Amorim's tactics suited him perfectly, and he was surprised to see that Amorim left after Sporting CP midway through in November for Manchester United. I think he expected Manchester United, he expected Ruben Amorim to stay put with the team Sporting CP. Remember, this team was still playing actively in the Champions League before they were ejected in the quarterfinals in there. So he thinks that Amorim had got big dreams. I think this clearly tells that he is in direct contact with Ruben Amorim after the CEO of Sporting CP rejecting their bid from Arsenal Football. What does this one mean for Arsenal Football Club? Does it mean that they have to go back to their drawing board and go for a player that they have been admired so much in the names of Benjamin Sesko, whom RB Leipzig valued him at around £70 million, and player in the names of Victor Gyökeres was valued at around 65 to 8 million pounds in there. So where does this one leave Arsenal? So it's up a question that everyone, the highest scorer of strikers last season, it was Victor Gyökeres of Sporting CP who scored around 39 goals, and Kylian Mbappe of Real Madrid scored around 31 goals. Then Mo Salah of Liverpool scored around 29 goals actually in the Premier League. Then Barcelona's actually Robert Lewandowski scored around 27 goals in the Spanish La Liga. Harry Kane of Bayern scored around 26 goals in the German Bundesliga. Alexander Isak of Newcastle scored around 23 goals in the Premier League. Then around 22 goals in the Premier League. That clearly says that out of all the strikers that the generation is currently having, there's no doubt that Victor Gyökeres is a prolific striker. Fluminense yesterday, the new signing from Brighton in the names of João Pedro scored 2 goals actually in either half actually of the game to see that Chelsea Football Club make it through. But suddenly for Team Chelsea Football Club, their midfielder in the names of Modest Caicedo will be out for them. You remember he picked up a knee injury, so he'll definitely be sidelined in there. So we have to see how long he'll be out for Team Chess Football Club, whether he'll be in the finals against a team or against PSG or Real Madrid, regardless of the game, the result that comes actually in the game against, regardless of the game. The result of the game that will be coming up today. So we have to see whether which one will be coming on top in there. So these teams will be locking on their horns today. Remember, Luis Enrique actually dodged to have a talk with this guy in the names of Kylian Mbappe into this competition. So what does that one mean to you? Actually, our views of Sunrise TV, that means that he's trying to play hide and seek actually into this game. So that's one of the biggest things. Remember, Champions League winners, PSG, are all set to square up against the Spanish giants in the names of Real Madrid in the semi-finals of the FIFA Club World Cup 2025. The two actually Europe's biggest actually heavyweights, Real ongoing FIFA Club World Cup. Both teams have been sensational so far in the tournament, and this promises to be a mouth-watering affair between the two teams. And let me take you through the team news actually for these two teams. For PSG, their team will be without the services of William Pacho. Remember, this is a player who picked up a red card in the game against Bayern Munich actually in the semi-finals. And then Lucas actually Hernandez also picked up a red card against Bayern after elbowing out a player in there. So these are the duos that will be out for Team PSG in there. And then for Real Madrid, this is a team which is fully fit. Apart from a player in the name of Wim Hussein, who has crossed over to from Premier League to go and play for them. So he will be out actually for Team Real Madrid. He's the only absentee for Team Real Madrid in there. So we have to see how these two teams will be lining up actually in the lineups in there. But they're looking at Team Real Madrid. This is a team that has got a couple of youngsters who are kind of doing tremendous well for them. One of the players who is doing so amazing for them is a player in the names of Trent Alexander-Arnold, whom they sent from Liverpool. Frank Garcia on the fullbacks position. He's also doing tremendous work in there for Team Real Madrid in there. But the reality is, this is not an easy game, no doubt about that. And any chance that these teams will be messing up, you'll be seeing opportunities of teams actually scoring goals in there. Remember, this is a team that have got the best actually attacking there, the best actually midfield, the best defense. All is all square for them. Remember, Team PSG may line up in a 4-3-3 formation with Donnarumma in the goal, Ashraf Hakimi, and Marquinhos alongside a player in the names of Lucas Balerdo, actually in that actually centre back position. Then Nuno Mendes will be flanked on the other full back position, and then Vitinha, Yao Neves, and then Fabian Ruiz will be the players who will be playing in that midfield setup to see that Real Madrid doesn't penetrate through the midfield. Then Bacola and then Carvajal will be on the flanks. Then you'll be having a player in the names of Doué playing actually in the striking role in there. I'm quite sure Luis Enrique will not be given a strict setup for a player in the names of Ousmane Dembélé. You remember, he started to be a favorite to win the Ballon d'Or in there. And we have to see how this will work out for Team Luis Enrique's side in there. But for Real Madrid, they always fancy playing for 4-3-3 formation, but in reality, when you watch the team of Real Madrid so closely, you find that they do play 3-5-2 formation. That clearly says that they are not in each side actually to joke with the record champions, like I said earlier on into this competition. And Team PSG have been so influential, and this has been their chance in them. They are beating teams for fun. So we have to see whether they will be upsetting the record actually winners of this competition. That's Real Madrid actually for you in here. So let's talk about the lineup that I think that Team Real Madrid will be using actually against Team PSG in the semi-finals. I think Courtois will be in the goal for Team Real Madrid in there. Trent Alexander-Arnold will definitely be into that team. Then they'll be having Rudiger Asensio, and then Frank Garcia. And then the midfield will be comprising of Aurelio Tchouameni, Jude Bellingham, and Valverde alongside Arda Güler. Then Gonzalo Garcia, Vinicius Jr. will be the players leading the line for Team Real Madrid in there. But talking about that, it's not going to be an easy game between these two teams, and these are so far the biggest clubs in Europe, and they're doing so well. So we have to see whether this guy will be making amends with the team of Real Madrid after that into this competition. Remember, it's his maiden season with team Real Madrid, and he's yet to see that team Real Madrid comes to life. Remember, under Ancelotti, Real Madrid never won actually a silverware last season in the Spanish La Liga. So we have to see whether this guy will be making amends with the team of PSG in there and the Real Madrid respectively. But the reality is, with the crop of players they have on disposal, it's not going to be an easy affair. So I'll be picking your actual attention on this game, whether Real Madrid or PSG will be making way. Keep on sending your messages actually on our actual social media platforms. We'll be giving you the feedback right in here. But if you had to ask me, with the current form, I think a team in the names of PSG will be having an upper hand against record winners. That's team Real Madrid in for you. Remember, this team of Real Madrid is under transition, so we are yet to see whether this team will be making amends in there. So hopefully, the best team will definitely go through. So, according to me, I'm expecting a team in the names of PSG making amends over Real Madrid. Remember, Real Madrid team is still under transition. And if you look at the Real Madrid type of game, they kind of play a very speedy game. And PSG has got all the players to see that that speed of Real Madrid is kind of maintained. Jan Neves has been so influential in that midfield. He knows when to cool the tempo of the game. One of the players who has been so tremendous for Team PSG has been a player in the names of Vitina. I think the world is currently watching him, and there's no doubt about his actual attributes in the team of PSG there. So to me, I think he will be having a good run in that middle pack of team Real Madrid. This is a team that knows how to control the tempo of the game. They know how to increase the tempo of the game. Comparing, the front lines of these teams. So you definitely believe that PSG have got a superior advantage. Remember, all these attackers, they are very speedy. Desire Doué is very actually aggressive on the ball. He's very speedy. He knows actually when to find the back of the net. He is always very athletic, electric. So it's not all going to be a front runner affair. But at the middle of the pack, I think that combination between Vitina and Jan Neves, not forget Fabian Ruiz, has been so solid for Team PSG, upsetting a number of clubs actually in the Champions League in there. So I think it's going to be a very interesting game to watch. And then talking about the Real Madrid team itself, Vinicius Jr. has not been so lively in that team. We could talk about one of the most influential players for that team of Real Madrid is Gonzalo Garcia. The two Garcia seems to be very interesting for team Real Madrid, and they're making those runs so quick into the box, and they know when to actually to cross over the ball into the into the box, and it's going to be so interesting. And the fullback itself, Fran Garcia. I could talk about Trent Alexander-Arnold. These are players who are so like I said, very actually athletic enough. They always know when to cross the ball actually into the 18 boxes that Gonzalo always have a player in the names of Vinicius Jr. Always Kylian Mbappe also makes and score those goals for them. One of them is a player in the names of Kylian Mbappe. So I think this will be a game to watch, honestly. Not forgetting a player who has been so influential, and he also fighting hard to see that he become the top scorer in this competition is our own from Africa in the names of Hakimi. This player has been so influential, no doubt about that. And Nuno Mendes himself has been so influential. Backline, at the back, PSG is very solid. At the same time, Team Real Madrid, they seem to be good, but I still have a feeling that comparing the backlines per now, PSG has got the best actually backline actual setup than the one of Team Real Madrid. So it's going to be interesting. These are players who are thought to be Ballon d'Or winners. We do have Ousmane Dembele in the team, Kylian Mbappe into the mix. So we are yet to see who will be making amends and will be in position to see that he or she makes actually amends in there. So let me take you through, before I go in for some of the social media platforms in here, let me take you through some of the posts that come here actually on the social media platform. One of them comes in from Genius Record. He says the PSG will be winning that game by 2-0. Then Chosen Michael, he's always listening. He's always following the show, and he's always actually watching this program. He says it will be PSG 1, Real Madrid 2. I think, Chosen Michael, you are a big fan of Real Madrid, but I can much interested in his services. And last week, it has been revealed that he has kind of agreed on a 5-year contract with Team Arsenal already. So Chelsea are demanding Arsenal around player in the names of Nuno Madueke. So we have to see whether Arsenal Football Club would be splashing that money to see that this guy comes in and balances everything for them. Remember, they will be having a lot of games to be played actually in this coming season. Remember, the Champions League is always there. They have got the Premier League itself. They have got the Carabao Cup to play. The FA is there. So it's going to be any map or watering affair to see that the Arsenal Football Club signs one of the best attackers, to see that this player comes in and you'll be balancing the front line of Team Arsenal Football Club. Remember, there are a couple of other players who Arsenal is being lined up with. One of them is a player in the names of Benjamin Sesko. Like I said earlier, they talked about consequences will be a player in the names of Gabriel Martinelli, who loves play when you actually face it on the ball like this. So I think it's going to be a very huge mountain for him to climb in there in the case Arsenal signs these players. And one of their latest player that they've been talking about is Valencia, that's what I write, actually, center back in the names of Christian Amasquera. This is a player that Team Arsenal Football Club needs to sign in. Remember, they are so much interested in young lads, and their project seems to be a big one. And it has been reported that the playmaker and the youngster from the academy in the names of Ethan Nueri is also set to sign another contract with the Arsenal Football Club. So we are here to see whether all these things will come to pass. Remember, they have signed a couple of players actually already. They've signed actually a backup goalkeeper for David Raya in the names of Kepa Arrizabalaga. Remember, these are two actual Spanish goalkeepers at the helm of Arsenal Football Club in there. Remember, Arsenal, in terms of goalkeeping, they have been so tremendous, and he has been given that set number 13 at Arsenal Football Club, which has been won by a number of legends in that team. We could talk about players like Vosek Szczesny. He once actually done that. We could talk about Ospina, David Ospina. I remember, this is when I think most of the current players, the current fans of Arsenal, started actually watching Arsenal Football Club. That generation of David Ospina, I think he has done so much well in there for Arsenal Football Club. I think Kepa Arrizabalaga, with his height coming into the team of Arsenal Football Club, I think he will be given a hard challenge for David. But the reality is that Brian has been so much actually very lively for Team Arsenal Football Club. Remember, it a new chapter. So definitely a player of his caliber. I think he has seen it all. He has won the FIFA Club World Cup with Liverpool. He has won the UEFA Champions League with Liverpool. He has won the Premier League with Liverpool. He has won the FA Cup with Liverpool. He narrowly missed the Dutch League with the Ajax. So I think a player of his age and a player of his magnitude by now needs to make money. I think what next for him is to see that he goes abroad and go and play other actually elite leagues. You could talk about the MLS down in the US, where the best is where the Sergio Busquets you go in and make money. So at his age, so I think it's high time the player of Jonathan Henderson Scalva needs to make money. And one of the areas whereby I think he can go is at Saudi Pro League. There are a couple of big money clubs in Saudi Pro League. The Al Nassr, the Al Hilal of this world can sign a player of General Henderson as well. But remember, he is still lively into the game, and his contributions are so huge in there. He is a genius player. He knows actually he was tireless actually at the middle of the park. So I think he will be a good one for team. In the names of he'll be a good one in case he crosses over to any of the leagues. So Premier League football will be limited for him. Maybe the German football he can try a little bit there. The Spanish football he can try there, but in Italy we have seen players crossing over Kevin De Bruyne of this world crossed over to Italy. I think Dean Henderson, with his work rate, he still has got that actual heart of playing elite football. But if he opts to go for money now, but the reality is he needs to make money, and his family also needs to benefit from his football. Definitely, to my only actual observation, I think the best for him is to see that he goes for money, maybe in like you said, in Saudi Pro League, or as in America, to see that he makes money. So let's first talk about Liverpool. This Liverpool team, remember, the process that Liverpool has gone through has been so immense in there, and the whole world has been so actually in bad times with Team Liverpool. Remember, principle with the trainer Alexander-Arnold, and Arnold has crossed over to Real Madrid on Bosman rule. So Arnold will be playing a huge role to see that this player crossed over to Real Madrid, and I'm just watching some of this celebration with trainer Alexander-Arnold. That clearly says that definitely this player, when he rejected the new proposal that Liverpool has offered for him on board, definitely he may likely cross over to Team Real Madrid. Real Madrid has been talking about centre backs. They talked about William Saliba of Arsenal Football Club. So Ibrahim Konate is one of the latest ones. So remember, they did sign Dean Hutchinson in the Premier League, and I think Real has got a unique idea from the Premier League when it comes to centre back. Remember, Arsenal Rico did crossover from to them. He is actually living lively for them. He's also always starting games, actually games in, game out. Trent Alexander-Arnold crossed over. He's starting games. Didn't Hunderson recently crossed over. He's starting games over games. So definitely a player in the caliber of Ibrahim Konate, with the physique that he has got, I think with the aerial abilities, Real Madrid will definitely suit him perfectly in there. So we have to see whether Liverpool will convince him to stay put. Remember, Gomez is kind of easy up, and recently their captain in the names of Virgil van Dijk turned 34 years old now. So I think he is coming down to his football. So I think Liverpool needs to identify priorities to come in and replace these are some of these actual youngsters in that team of theirs. So you remember, Gerard Kwasa did leave them and did cross over to Bayer Leverkusen. So that clearly tells that the Liverpool needs to add a number of players into their actual backline position. Remember, they talked about him, Crystal Palace, Mark Guehi, but I think Liverpool can really lure this player to come and play at Anfield. Remember, Crystal Palace will not be playing. Will not be playing the Champions League. Remember, their actual quest to play in what we call UEFA Europa League is still on hold. Remember, Crystal Palace, that's what I bought. Kind of have got that core actor ownership in there. So that thing is still into the UEFA office, is still in the FIFA office. So we have to see with a lot of vigor. He comes with a lot of expectations for Liverpool, but I think Liverpool needs to sign him in case a player in the names of Ibrahim Konate failed to sign another contract with them. And like you said, Gomez is the up, a player in the names of Van Dijk is the up. So they need young guys to come in and crop well for Liverpool. See that Liverpool become one of the solid organized teams when it comes to defensive setup in the English Premier League. Remember, last season Liverpool conceded a few number of goals defensively. That clearly says that the team is good when it comes to defensive setups. In one of the players that they have signed in include players like I could talk about players like Fernand Waits from Bayer Leverkusen. They did sign Frimpong already. So Milos Kirkles from Bournemouth. These are the players that Ancelotti has kind of earned actually into the books of Liverpool in there. So they also talked about signing in a striker. So we have to see the striker that they've been talking about is a player in the names of Alexander Isak of Team Newcastle United. So, but I think it will not be very hard for Liverpool to sign this guy, because this guy will be playing in the Champions League, and Team Newcastle has offered Isak, that's number 9 actually at Newcastle. Remember, Calvin Wilson has been donning that number 9 at Team Newcastle United, and he has crossed over to Saudi Pro League, and he wants to make big money. So definitely Newcastle United and Eddie Hoy's hierarchy has given the priority to a player in the names of Alexander Isak that he will be done in just number 9 at Newcastle. So it will be hard for Liverpool to sign a player of his caliber. You remember, Newcastle valued him at around £150 million. I don't think that Liverpool will be in a position to spend that money for a player of his caliber. Remember, he has been so influential for Team Newcastle United, banging a number of goals and tormenting a number of defenders here in the English Premier League. I don't think Newcastle, with their ambitions currently, will be in position to sell a player of Isak's caliber. They also talked about Hugo Ekitike of Team Eintracht Frankfurt. Remember, he did score a number of goals actually in German Bundesliga. He scored around 15 goals. So I think Liverpool signing a player of Hugo Ekitike's caliber will speak volume about him in there. But one of the players that no one is talking about in Europe is a player in the names of Matteo Retegui. Remember, this guy plays for Atalanta Football Club. Remember, he has scored a number of goals for Atalanta last season in the Serie A. Remember, he made Atalanta to finish third on the Serie A table standings there. So that clearly says that this is a previous striker. He's still 26 years old, and no European clubs are talking about his services. I think he could be a good one for Liverpool Football Club. Remember, Italian Serie A is kind of a little bit physical, like the English Premier League. This is a player whom I think if he comes to Premier League, probably he may make amends. And no club is talking about this guy, and we shall be waiting to see who Liverpool will be signing up from in there. One of the latest is that Team Manchester United, they have been offered the chance to sign a player in the names of Jamie Vardy. Remember, they are players who are kind of on free agents. Remember, Jamie Vardy is one of them. Calvert-Lewin has left Everton Football Club. These are players that rumorly Manchester United are said to be monitoring their services, and their first priority was to sign a player in the names of Victor Gyökeres from Sporting CP, who kind of worked perfectly with Ruben Amorim. So we have to see whether Amorim will be in position to sign a striker. But I think United surely needs a striker because Rasmus Haaland, with his awful season last time out at United, clearly that he is not a reliable actual goal scorer for United. So if United want to stay competitive in the Premier League, and if they want to revamp actually to see that they come back to their glory days, they need to sign a prolific goal striker in the names of Jamie Vardy. If I'm to be a Ruben Amorim, Jamie Vardy is on a free contract. I can even sign this guy because he has done a lot of things actually in English football. He has scored a total of 145 Premier League goals for team actually. Latest team there. He'll be a good one for Manchester United if he at all Ruben Amorim prefers a player of his actual caliber. Remember, he's not kind of injury prone. That's Jamie Vardy for you. Can get injuries actually once in a while. At his age, I think he's a good one for United. If at all Ruben Amorim prefers actually a free signing in there. Calvert-Lewin is one of them. He has been in the Premier League before. He has been so influential for Everton, scoring a number of goals for them. So amazing in there. That's a player in the names of Calvert-Lewin. And the way to see whether Manchester United will be actually making amends in there. So we shall be waiting to see whether Manchester United will be making amends. And their project seems to be clicking very well under Amorim. So, listener, obvious, catch me again tomorrow from 6 to 7 p.m. to see that I'll be back here to give you more of the information in the world of sports in there. It has been me, Senior Jerry, the host of the show. I've been alone in the studios, and my colleagues were taken up somewhere, but hopefully they may join me soon in this. So this show has been proudly sponsored by Saint-Germain Global Active Ventures Limited in there. They are the sole sponsors of this particular show. A big one. They are always here to give you the best when it comes to giving us all the aspects of business wise in it. You can actually come in and advertise with us. Remember, our business hotline is always very open here. You can come in there and advertise with us. Remember to follow us on our different social media platforms. We're always there on X at Sunrise TV, on Facebook we're as well there at Sunrise TV, and then on YouTube at Sunrise TV. You can follow us there, and then you'll be watching our actual episodes if you missed any here at live in here. It has been me, Zero, the host of the show. I'm out of here. Let's catch up again tomorrow from 6 to 7. I'm out. Bye-bye.